Hello there, welcome back to Beauty Beat and welcome to my Pandas Eyeshadows update for the month of August of 2022. This project really doesn't look that much like the original Pandas Eyeshadows anymore. The way I do this is I randomly select 4 shades from my collection of singles or just pans like these ones from Viseart that are really easy to pop out of their respective palettes, and then I build out a 9-pan with other shades that I select. So 4 randomly selected shades, 5 shades that I picked myself. My goal is to hit 10 uses on each of the randomly selected shades. So this past month, the 4 shades that I had randomly selected were this yellow, these 2 oranges, and then this silver from Colourpop. And I was very much feeling the cool toned neutrals at the time that I pulled these shadows, so once I had those 4, everything else was cool toned and neutral. And though I don't think this looks super cohesive in the palette, I actually got quite a few looks that mixed the 2 sides, that mixed the really warm toned mattes with these cooler toned neutrals, and I was really happy with how they turned out. I think probably the best example is my Get Ready With Me using my Pandas eyeshadows for this past month, which I will link up in the cards. It's actually pretty similar to the look that I have on today, though I feel like for some reason my eyeshadow has completely worn off of this eye, so let's fix that just by mixing a couple of these shades. Right, where were we? I was just saying that I mixed this yellow with this silver and this, I don't even know what I would call this shade. This is Wild Child from Luxie. It has some brown, it has some green to it, it has some purple. It's a very interesting duochrome shifty shade, and I wore that look probably like 4 times this month. I mean, I'm wearing an iteration of it today, though again, so much of my eyeshadow has worn off that I don't know that you can see any remnants of that orange from this morning. Anyway, let's get into my progress for the month. So the 2 shades that I had as rollovers from the previous month were this yellow and then this deep reddish orange. It looks very red in comparison to the orange beneath it, but if you just look at it, it's like a deep terracotta-y orange shade. And I have hit 10 uses on both of those. I think I was sitting at like 8 uses on this deep orange in the last update, and I think I might have used it like the next 2 days. I was so sick of having this in my project that I just powered through, used it 2 more times, and probably haven't touched it more than once since then this month. This yellow, I think I was sitting at 5 or 6 uses on, and with that look that we talked about, I've actually worn this yellow like 3 or 4 times after hitting my 10 uses. I really like this shade. It's not one that I had gotten a ton of use out of previously, and I'm really glad that I pulled it in. It's a super, super pretty color. So these 2 shades I will be rolling out. I do have 2 shades that will be staying in for another month, and they are the 2 that I pulled in the last update. So first we have this orange shade, which is, I don't know why I expected there to be a name on the back. This is from Colourpop. It is from the Play It Jewel palette, and it is this orange. I'm not a big fan of orange eyeshadow. I do like how yellow this leans, but it's never going to be my favorite shade. It works fine. The performance is good. The quality on this shade is good. It's just not my favorite. And then we have this absolutely gorgeous silver from Colourpop. I think that this is the same shade as On a Whimsy, which is their single silver shadow that has quite a cult following. It is a really pretty blingy Diet Coke can silver. I found that I really liked wearing this mixed with one of these two duochromes from Luxie. I found that by itself, I mean, this makes a pretty little accent, but it's not a shade that I would necessarily want to wear all over my lid very often. However, when I mixed it with Wild Child, like I just did today, or with Joker from Luxie, which let's do that right now, it deepened it up a little bit. I thought it made it a little bit more approachable and a little bit less like Paris Hilton circa 2005. So that's what we're looking at now. And I am sitting right now at 6 uses on this orange, 8 uses on this silver. I think that I'm going to have a very easy time hitting 10 on this silver because I've been wanting to use it practically every day, but I'm not going to roll in a replacement shade just because I want to have some leeway with the palette that I build today. So I think that brings us to the fun part, which is choosing the new shades. So let's get to it. All right, I have my Excel spreadsheet pulled up. I did update my sheet with the new shadows that came in over the last 2 months. I don't believe that I had updated back in July's update. So there are currently 219 shades that can be picked. So let me update my rand array function to choose 2 random numbers, and the shades that I've pulled are shade 12 and shade 23. So shade 12 is going to be a hot pink from Colourpop. This was back when I wasn't naming the writing the individual shade names down, so I'll need to figure out what color that is. I can picture it, but I don't know what the name is. And then shade 23 is going to be the second to last shade for my Viseart Petite Pro 1. I want to say that's a gold. Anyway, I will go pull those, put together the rest of my palette, and we'll see what I will have to play with this month. Okay, I am pretty enthused about the color story that I've pulled. So as a refresher, the 2 shades that were left over were this orange and this silver. Both of them are from Colourpop. This one is from Play It Jewel. This one is from Stone Cold Fox. And here are my swatches of those. We're off to an inauspicious start. Let's put it that way. The Viseart shade is indeed sort of a gold. I would actually say this is more of a bronze. And here is what that looks like. It is really pretty. Maybe not my preferred color scheme so far, but very pretty. And then the last shade that I pulled, the Colourpop Hot Pink, as I called it, is actually Pick Me. I really should update my sheet to reflect its actual name, but here is what this shade looks like. It's a little on the crumbly side, but isn't that fun? I love how summery these 4 colors look together, and that is definitely what I leaned into when I pulled the rest. I was kind of thinking of this, I think it's a Barbie swimsuit that I was picturing that had like a sort of a 1970s wave print, but in really bright, bold 1980s colors. I want to say that I had a Barbie that wore an outfit very, very similar to that when I was growing up, but you know, that was 20 odd years ago, so don't quote me on that. But I wanted to go with these bright oranges and pinks, and then to add some a little bit softer blues to it as well. And then I ended up pulling in this deep brown just to anchor things. So let's go through what exactly we have. So here is the Colourpop Orange and then the Colourpop Hot Pink slash Pick Me. This pink is again from Colourpop. It is from their Play It Jewel palette as well. I think that will be interesting to work with. I don't know that I've really used this shade much at all. I think it will make an interesting crease color to do sort of a monochromatic thing with Pick Me, but I also think it could work well with the oranges that I have pulled and the silver, but the silver is pretty neutral, so the silver will go with pretty much anything. Then moving to this next column, we have this deep reddish brown, which is from the Viseart Petite Pro 2, I think. At least that's where it was stored when I pulled it, and I think it was probably originally homed there. I thought that that reddish undertone that it has would play nicely with the pinks and the oranges. And then we have a Luxie shade. I really enjoyed having my Luxie shades in the palette last month. I thought that having those extra shifty, sparkly shades allowed me a lot of dimension and were really fun to mix with that silver. So I was kind of going for some shades that would mix nicely with the silver this month as well. This one is Skyflower, which is this sort of pinky silver shade. I love shades like this. It's actually really similar to my nail polish today, but isn't that pretty? I thought that would make a gorgeous inner corner highlight, or maybe to put on the brow bone even. It might be a little too shiny for that though, and additionally, though I think it's catching the light really well in the viewfinder to look almost white. In person, I can see that this is definitely a pink and definitely deeper than my skin tone, so maybe not as a brow bone highlight, but definitely as an inner corner or to mix in with another lid shade. I think it will be beautiful. Then moving on to the final column, here we're going very silver and blue. So of course we have the Colourpop Silver and then two blues. This is from the Colourpop Orange Out palette, I think. Again, the Colourpop tie-dye palettes, I have all three, and I've mixed the shades all together. But look at that shade, isn't that fun? I can see myself using this as like a base color and then topping it with this Luxie Skyflower shade or the hot pink or the silver. I think that would be really cute. Or popping that on the lower lash line. That'd be fun. And then the last shade in this palette is Painted Lady. Again from Luxie. And this is super sparkly. It's got some blue to it. It's got some aqua, some purple. I can almost see some silver at certain angles. It's stunning. I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with these two Luxie shades. And just this palette in general, I don't think it looks all that cohesive, swatched out, but it is giving me that Barbie swimsuit vibe, and I am here for it. I'm really enjoying that color scheme. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing. You might like it around here. And with that, hope you all are having a great day, that your panning is going really well if you are involved in any projects, and that I'll see you next time. Bye!